there, Star Wars fans, and welcome back to another RebelScum.com video. And today we are talking about the Podracer pilots and mechanics that participated in the Boonta Eve race of Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. There's actually been quite a bit of Podracer pilots released in 3 3/4 scale, mostly. As far as 6-inch scale is concerned, there isn't any. They haven't done any of the Podracer pilots at 6-inch scale yet. Yes, technically there are Anakin figures. However, we don't have pod racing Anakin in 6-inch scale yet. So as far as talking about 6-inch stuff, for this video, there really isn't anything to talk about. However, for 3 3/4 scale, there's actually quite a bit to talk about. For example, for right now, specifically, we do have 2 pod racers that participated in the race. We have Anakin's pod racer and Sebulba's pod racer. Now, these pieces were actually released as early as the Phantom Menace toy line back in the late 90s, but they did get updated paint releases in the late 2000s when Phantom Menace 3D was hitting theaters. So when Hasbro was re-releasing a bunch of Phantom Menace characters as well as other fill-in characters, they did redo the pod racers. Same molds, just updated paint and better details. However, the first releases, we did get a pod racing pilot Sebulba, which was one of our first releases of Sebulba. He didn't get a single carded release in the Phantom Menace. His first carded release wasn't until the Power of the Jedi toy line. So we do have Sebulba right here. There he is with his pod racer. There you go. And he hasn't really gotten another really nice updated figure in a very long time. There aren't a ton of Sebulba figures. And then here is little pod racing Annie. Now, there are plenty of various pod racing or young Annie figures, including other pod racing Annies. And he did get a really nice update in that Discover the Force movie Heroes line when they were doing revamped Phantom Menace characters. So he got a really nice updated release. This is the original one that came with the pod racer back in the Phantom Menace toy line. But there's also been, for example, pit droids. There were lots of pit droids at the pod race. We are soon going to be getting a pit droid figure in Black Series. At some point, it's going to be a Galaxy's Edge exclusive, part of the Droid Factory droid pack that's coming out soon. But other than that, there really isn't much else to tell. There's been plenty of other pit droid releases. There were lots of various colored pit droid 2-pack releases in the 2007 Saga Legends portion of the 30th anniversary toy line. A pit droid came with one of the other vintage collection pod racer pilots. That's Rex Tyrell. Rex Tyrell was only released in vintage collection, and that is to date the only release of a vintage collection pit droid as well. We also have Team Toe Pagalize here. Team Toe here was first released in the Attack of the Clones packaging, and he came with this interesting little scrap crab droid thingy that can pick up junk, engine parts, whatnot. We later in Saga Collection got an awesome 2-pack featuring Dud Bolt and Mars Guo. Now, some of these guys have been re-released over the years. There was even a really awesome Pod Racer pilot pack release during that Phantom Menace 3D packaging, and a lot of the pilots even came with their flags that they were carrying in the beginning of the Boonta Eve race. And then, of course, I also have the vintage collection release of Mahonic here. So there he got his single carded release. This is the guy who was shaking his fist at Sebulba when Sebulba was trying to sabotage him. I mean, Sebulba was a cheater. It makes sense. They even captured that in the toy. He comes with this awesome little spinning blade that pops out here out of the side panel, so you can have him try to sabotage the other things. So even back in the day, Hasbro did some pretty cool things with the pod racers overall. Now, there are other characters that were participating in the pod race that did get figures that I just don't have in front of me today. Ben Quadranaris is one of them. He was a vintage collection figure release, so he came on one of these cards right here, which looked pretty cool. There's a couple of figures that came out in Phantom Menace card back in the day with other droids. Gasgano is one of those guys. The other one is going to be Odie Mandrell, I believe is how his name is pronounced. He's the guy who's arguing with the pit droid, and then the pit droid gets sucked into his engine and causes him to obviously lose the race because he can't, go forward. Clyde Holdfast is another one who got a figure, and then I think that's it for the pilots that aren't up here in front of me. As far as other mechanics, there hasn't really been a whole lot of other stuff other than the little droids that appeared, and then there is one named mechanic, I believe, who did get a figure, and that's Pax Bonkick, who was the Rhodian mechanic. He basically just looked like Greedo with a blue vest, but he was released in the 30th anniversary packaging. So there you go. A lot of cool characters, a lot of cool toys for the Boonta Eve pod race scene. Unfortunately, not a lot of pod racers. Hopefully, maybe in the future, especially in Vintage Collection, we'll see some more pod racer releases. I would love to even see pod racer releases in just a VC box for the updated paint versions they did of these guys, because these toys were just so cool. And I mean, aside from the handle in the middle so you can actually hold and play with the toy, I mean, I think Hasbro nailed it. Personally, that's just my opinion on the matter. What do you guys think? Do you think they could have done better? Do you think they nailed it? What would you like to see if Hasbro did a VC release? Would you like them to do maybe a HasLab where there's like a collection of multiple pod racers from the pod race scene? Would you like to see maybe even Ben Quadraneros's quad pod racer? I would like to see that. I think that would be a really, really cool toy to get released one day. But let us know in the comments. Let us know in the forums what you guys think. What was your favorite pod racer in the pod race? I'm particular. I like Anakin. I've been an Anakin fan for a long time. I've always liked him. And Anakin was my favorite pod racer. I always played as Anakin, even in the pod racing video game. So which one was your favorite? Let us know in the comments. Let us know in the forums. That's it for today, guys. So stay tuned for more. We will be talking about the viewers of the Boonta Eve pod race. That's it for today. So make sure you go to rebelscum.com for all kinds of awesome daily content, such as articles, news, and videos. Like and subscribe. Follow us on social media. We'll see you guys later. We'll see you another time. May the Force be with all of you, you Rebel Scum.